one of the things that frustrates me the most when I'm moderating a study is when someone observes me and then afterwards they come up and they say, "Is that how you do?" People actually pay for that. It's like they don't get how hard it really is to moderate these usability tests or to conduct an in-depth interview for user research. And Carolyn Snyder has a great analogy for moderating. She says it's like a duck on water. It's all calm and serene on the surface. But in reality, we're paddling like mad. Because there's a lot that's going on in our heads, right, while we're moderating these ability tests. Do we interrupt or not? Do we offer help at some point or not? Do we probe and follow up? And if so, how do we word that just right so that we're not leaking? A lot of things that we're juggling around. And it's very hard. And a lot of times people jump into it and say, just wing it. And they don't realize there's prep involved. There's some practice that you got to do to get it right. And we're going to talk about that. So I've conducted a lot of research interviews, probably hundreds and hundreds over the last 14 years. That's really what I specialize in, is research. And over that time, I've made a ton of mistakes. And I've witnessed a lot of mistakes too. And I think it's very important in our industry to share those mistakes. And that's what fosters growth in our industry, is just sharing what we learn. So that's what I'm going to do, is share my mistakes that focus other people make as well. And hopefully it can make us better researchers. Okay, so let's talk about this word though, sin. It's really evil. Perhaps that's not the best word for what we're going to discuss. That might have been to get in here. We choose to sin. Mistakes are not a choice. We wouldn't choose to make a mistake. And a lot of the things we're going to discuss, we wouldn't really choose to do these sins. So depending on if you've done some of these, perhaps if it was on purpose, it might be a sin. If not, it might be more of a mistake. So for now, let's just say maybe it's the top mistakes that we can avoid. So let's dive right in, right? Because we only have a half hour. So number one, not knowing the product you're researching. I am always amazed where sometimes I will find researchers that will say, I don't need to understand the ins and outs of the entire product to have an interview with someone about how they use it. And I will completely disagree. You need to know that product as well as the designers, the developers, the product managers who created it. Absolutely, all the ins and outs of it. Why? Because this could happen to you. You could very easily miss out on a wonderful opportunity to follow up on an advanced feature set or something that just led perfectly to it that you missed because you didn't know the product anymore. And sometimes people have an argument that is, well, we're supposed to play dumb to the user, right? Like, I don't know, what do you think? You tell me. And I don't want to give something away if I know the product too well. That's not going to happen. If you're a good facilitator, you can play dumb pretty well. The important thing is getting the data that you need. And in order to do that, you have to know the product. Now, we're all on short time frames. We have a lot of things happening where we're just thrown as if we've got to do research next week. It's like, I don't even know the product. Just don't let that happen. Do what you can to protect your time that you need to prepare properly in order to do good research. Otherwise, it's just not good research, and there's no point in doing it. Okay, not knowing the screener and who has been recruited. Now, I've walked into this situation before. How long have you been using this product? I'm actually not a customer yet. It's like, did the recruiter do their job? Did the screener write? How did that happen? And it happens a lot. And there's a lot of reasons why that might happen. What it comes down to is do not put the fate of your research study in the hands of the recruiter. They don't care. They got you a warm body. Hopefully they did their job properly and got you the right person and followed your screener. You don't know until that person is in the seat. Unless you do a little more due diligence and you actually maybe follow up with them and say, hi, you're scheduled for this research and I just want to make sure you fit this criteria. That little bit of extra work pays off huge in dividends when you avoid this. Also, one of the other things about knowing your participants, I don't know if you do any field research where you're going to someone's house or even meeting someone in person in a lab setting, know their name. Take the time to figure out how to pronounce it properly, or if you do that, that call ahead of time, say, you know what, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Can you tell me and remember it, write it in a way that you will remember it? It means a lot. When you're trying to connect with a stranger, you're trying to do research, getting the name right is actually half the battle, in my opinion, when you're just trying to just make that interpersonal connection. Okay, not conducting a dry run. So Will Schroeder taught me this, who works at the MathWorks. He says, if you do not do a dry run, your first test or interview will be your dry run. And he's absolutely 100% true. And the reason why is because there is nothing, or there's never a time when you do a dry run where you're just going to go through it and say, oh, that went perfectly, there's nothing I would change. There's always something you would change, whether it's how you probe, the order of your questioning, the flow of the conversation. I always find it very valuable, even if it's just a stress relief, to be like, okay, I went through it once, I talked it out loud. It's worth it to do a pilot test. And a lot of people ask me, what do you mean pilot? You know, do I have to waste a user on it? No, you can use a surrogate user. You know, a friend or family member is fine. Ideally, maybe someone that would possibly be working on the project, but it has intimate knowledge of how a user would use the product, but is not actually working on the project would be ideal. So doing the dry run is immensely important. I always regret it when I don't. Okay, so this one's really funny. Asking leading questions. You know, this is a human part. We're human. This happens, but it's one of the things that really can pull a study too. This happens a lot. How would you share this information? Or I would share this information. By emailing it? It's like, you know, sometimes when that slips out and you give the answer, when you're asking a question, you could just retract it and bring it back and be like, oh, I just totally gave that away and planted that in their head. He says, yeah, sure, by emailing it. We don't know what he really would have said had you not planted that. Very hard to realize, like, those are one of the things that it looks really easy to do, but what's happening is what you're not seeing, what they're not saying. That's really important. As a researcher, there's a lot you shouldn't say, and that's key, and this is one of them. And of course, instead, you just ask, how would you share that? Not the answer in the question. Okay, so number 5, asking if a feature would ever be used. I hate this. I hate this question. Clients are always trying to get me to ask participants this question. Well, just say, you know, we want to build this chat feature, and we're just curious to know if they use it. So just ask them. In any interview, just throw it in there and say, by the way, we can never use a chat feature if we build it. What are you going to do with that data? What's the person be like? Yeah, I guess so. Sure, I'd use it if you built it, or no. That's not observed data, observed behavior that we can really report on. It's opinion. It belongs in that focus group. It does not belong in the usability study. It does not belong in user research. So fight back on that if you're asked that question. Or if you're trying to be agreeable and you're like, okay, yes, and I will answer or ask that question, you know, try and prepare them for the fact that, you know, if 7 out of 7 people say yes, they use it, that doesn't mean go and build it and it will be adopted. It doesn't mean that. They have to be informed as to why. Market research, user research, very different. Oh, and also, if you really want to get this data, what do? You build a prototype about a chat function, you structure a task around it, and you see if it was used. And then you have data that you observed that you can actually report on. So that's how you fight that. Not asking open-ended questions. So yes, no answers. They just do not belong in a research study if you can help it. You know, it's hard. Sometimes you're thinking of questions on the fly, and I'm a big fan of throwing the moderator's script away. You know, and not following a predefined set of questions and just sitting with your clipboard in front of a participant. It's very stale. I like to just try and relax and just have a conversation with someone. And sometimes when you're doing stuff on the fly, a yes or no question might come out that you wish you didn't phrase that way. But if you can, you know, try and avoid that. In this example, do you think this process could be improved by changing X? Instead, how would you improve the process? Let them fill in the blank. Okay, not staying neutral. This is the hardest, right? I think this is absolutely the hardest skill as a researcher to master. And I think it's one of those things that people take for granted when they see a researcher and they see them, you know, doing, you know, acting all common screens like, oh wow, I could do this. they're not seeing how hard it is to stay neutral. I once had to mentor someone and try to help them with moderating, and he couldn't help himself. It was just the way he was. After every task that the participant completed, he would say, perfect, perfect. And it's not detrimental, it's not a huge big deal, but as researchers we have to try and keep that poker face and stay neutral. It's very hard to do. It's hard for me to do. Again, that's where the pilot test, when the driver help out a lot too. You're not, to walk with that facilitator role and just, okay, I'm not going to give any feedback. But it's also hard because you have to encourage people to give feedback as well. You have to encourage it without biasing the data. And the way that I do that, I'm sure a lot of you probably do the same thing, is just a lot of and just trying not to say how I feel about that. And of course, always throwing it back to them. Did I do that? I don't know. Do you think it's done? They hate that. They really do. They want to help. They want to get it right. But constantly remember that there is no right. And we do want to be reassuring and give that pat back. You're doing a great job. We just can't. We really can't. Okay, asking design questions. This is another one that does not belong in a user research interview or usability test. Have you ever been asked by either a creative person or maybe a marketing person, I just want to know, do they think it's cool? Do they like the layout? What do they think? We just care about that. And I get it. Everyone wants to know if their design is cool or if it's better than what currently exists. But that's not the kind of data we're collecting. It's all about utility for usability testing. Can they use it easily? In-depth interviews, do they even need the features you gave us? What problem are we trying to solve? Do you like the color purple? Does the purple work for you? It's just not, what are they going to do with that data? They go out, they ask that question. I asked 6 people, what they think of the color. And it's not data that's actionable. They can't really make any decisions on that. It's really only going to annoy some people, for sure. Okay, so number 9, asking questions that have already been answered. I see this on TV a lot with a lot of people who are supposed to be really good interviews. Larry King does this a lot. But if you want to lose the respect and trust of your research participant, ask them a question that they already answered. That's the number 1 way to do it. And it's, again, going back to the we're human thing, we're only human, it may happen, but you have to try and stay focused in your interview. And you may have a full day of back-to-back interviews, and you really can't keep track of, wait a minute, that person I answered, was that the person before? It happens. But try and stay focused, try to stay into it, because they will totally think you're a tool if you're and you do it, especially if you do it repeatedly in an interview. Then it's like, wow, are you listening to anything I'm telling you? You want them to feel like their feedback that they're taking the time to give you is valued and really being listened to. Now, ways to make sure this happens. Again, put down that report. People really hold on to that moderator vibe, and they say, okay, this is the question. These are the questions I'm going to ask, and this is what's going to lead me to the best study. All I have to do is follow this, and all will be well. That's usually when this happens, because a lot comes out naturally in conversation. And question number 8 may naturally get answered in the beginning of the interview, and then all of a sudden you're going down the list, and you answer. You ask 6, you ask number 7. Oh, here's number 8. Well, they already asked that. Well, but I'm here, and let's just ask again. And sometimes I'll even hear people say, well, I know you've already answered this, but let me just ask again. It's just like, get away from the script. It's okay to say, okay, we've been there, we've covered that, let's get ready. And another important point of this is never be afraid to pause, to take that moment. Sometimes we're so afraid, we feel like we have to fill every second with either talking, and I'm very silent in a usability test. It's very surprising for me to be that silent. But I have to be, because I've learned I'll go back on, oh, this is a really great soundbite, this is going to be the perfect clip to show the client, and I just ruin it with my voice, or I just say something that really did not even need to be said, but just I felt the need to fill that air, that dead air space. So never be afraid to pause, to collect your notes, be like, okay, let's get the next question. question, to yourself and do that. The participant doesn't like it. Okay, we are all guilty of this. Losing focus. It happens, right? You have a full day of back-to-back sessions, and all of a sudden, you're at that last participant, and your mind is just like, I really love these, the other participants in the show, and you just start going off, and the person is just telling you, you've already talked to 9 different participants, and they've all started venting about the same issue that you've heard, already. So you just start losing focus and zoning out. Not okay. We can't do this as researchers. It does happen. The way I guard against this is protecting my schedule. I know now that I cannot do 7 one-hour interviews in a day. There may be people who can. I know personally that I can't. I know physically I can, but I know that if I do that by the 7th one, I'm going to be like this. I'm going to be zoning out a little bit. I tell my recruiters, I tell my clients, 6 in a day if you have to give it. And 6 in a day is you got 1 hour, you have breaks in between, you have a lunch hour. That's a long day. That's a very long day. It doesn't sound like, oh, you can't do 7? No, I can. And we're going to spill over into day 2, and actually usually works out even better to break it up into 3 and 4 or something like that. And just protect your time. And I used to hate that. When I first started out, I used to feel like I could never say no. Or if I said no, it's like, oh, someone else would probably do it, so I should probably just do it. Or make everyone easier if they didn't have to run a lab for an extra day. I fight against that now. And I think that's the best way that I personally can fight against this. Some people probably have other tips for kind of staying awake, lots of caffeine, whatever it may be. Letting participants leave early. This is a big no-no. Whenever I mentor someone, I will never let them do this, or I'll call them on it, I should say, if they do it. I one time witnessed someone, it was 20 minutes, a full 20 minutes that they had the participant left in the hour that they're paying. And he said, okay, great, we've gone through everything, and I think that's all we need from you right now. And my jaw just hit the floor, because every single minute is a chance to learn something from a participant. Every single minute. And I don't care if you went through your mod guide and you don't have any other questions to ask. There's still more. Have them look at the competitor site. Do something. What I do to try to guard against it, this is actually my biggest fear. When I'm going into a study, I'm always afraid there's never going to be enough to fill the time, because the time is important. We took that person out of their day to give us their time. I've got observers taking time out of their day. I want it all to be useful. So what I do is I have time fillers. So all the top priority stuff is there, but I plan for this, and I make sure, okay, if we have the super user who comes in and gets it done in half the time, how are we filling the rest of the time? And I make sure I have some time fillers just in case that happens. This may never happen to you. For some reason, it makes me feel better to have this. And I just don't let someone leave early unless I explicitly have permission from the client. I've had clients tell me, I've obviously been stretching the time, and we're getting everything we can, and they just let them go. We're good. I'm like, okay, sure. So as long as I get the permission, I feel better about it. All right, so not properly preparing for remote research. Let's see here. I'd say about 95%, 95% of my research nowadays is remote. It's amazing. So all I do is usability testing and research interviews. And nowadays, my clients come to me wanting it because their teams are geographically dispersed. Their users are geographically dispersed. It just works out better. But the thing about remote research is that it can bring about a whole lot of issues that you have to account for. There's a lot more that you have to worry about. What if your internet goes out? I don't know about you, as a consultant, I never want to be the point of failure. If the user can't connect, the user can't connect. I can't control a thunderstorm in California. But I never want to be that point of failure. Do you have a USB backup for internet modem? That's not a lot of money. If it's $60 a month, just for me to cover my ass and make sure that I have internet, if my internet at my home office goes, I've got my backup. Things like that. Things like, to avoid this, when you were giving instructions to the participants, like giving them the WebEx or the GoToMeeting, did you also make sure to tell them to use a landline? I do not let my participants use cell phones. I don't care how great their signal is that they tell me, they have to use a landline, because this always happens, where it's just like going in and out. I don't use Skype. It's just another point of failure, So just eliminating those points of failure, there's just a lot more due diligence that has to be done. Sometimes, depending on how paranoid I am, I will have two different sessions built up, one for WebEx, one for GoToMeeting. If the WebEx servers are just not happy that day, I have my backup sessions. Okay, great, we're here, and I already have the one for GoToMeeting. A little bit more work, but it pays off huge in just your stress level. Just knowing that, like, okay, if that happens, I've got it covered. Another thing, how many of you, when you're doing a remote research study, are really stressed out that day and saying, man, I really hope everybody, all the participants can get into the WebEx or the GoToMeeting session. You can eliminate that stress. Again, email the participants, so I have the one that's going to be interviewing you. If you wouldn't mind, we've created a dummy meeting, and if you just could just click on this, tell me you got in okay, and then I know you're set for later on in the week. That's all it takes is create a dummy meeting and have them report back to you that they were able to get in okay. Huge. These are huge, and just knowing that everybody can do that. And it also relieves stress on the participant too. It's a lot of times they've never used WebEx before doing this. Okay. Two more after this. 13, not randomizing tasks or prototypes. I see this happen a lot where researchers sometimes will forget to do this, or they just don't think to possibly randomize the task for each participant, so that way all 20 people in the study all did the same task in the same order, and the tasks at the end of the study were a lot easier to do than the tasks at the beginning, because they were learning the interface as they went. If it's not a sequential task, you can easily randomize it, and then you don't have to worry about that learnability effect. And I've got caught out on it, and you're like, randomize the task. It happens, but you want to try to avoid that. Also, just recently I did a study where they wanted to figure out a clear winner of 3 different prototypes, 3 different ways to do navigation. And it was like three with such a, we do qualitative research, we're talking to 6 people. Like, you're not going to get a clear winner. You can't do lots of versions. So trying to push back on that as well. Forgetting to record. This happens to everyone. I don't care how seasoned you are, this will happen. It sucks. It's always the best one to do. Have your checklist, that's all I can say. Even with checklists, sometimes it still happens. I'm pretty seasoned at this. I've been doing it a while, and I'll still have the wing it mentality. It's like, I can wing this, and it's like, I forgot to hit record. So, I don't know, use checklists. One of those things. Last one, not conducting an observer debrief. This is huge, and for some reason it boggles my mind when people skip this step. And to me, it is a step in the process of doing user research, whether it's a usability test or an in-depth interview. If you do not do a debrief with the observers afterwards, then your analysis and your report or presentation is incomplete. Because you could come up with this situation where you're presenting the key findings from the study, and then one of the observers that are in the attendance says, wait a minute, you didn't mention this, and when I was observing, I thought that was the key finding. It needs to be holistic. It needs to include everything. We're not doing this in a vacuum. It brings the team together, first off, doing an observer debrief. But one thing the way I describe observing a usability test or an in-depth interview is that it's like witnessing an accident. Everyone sees it go down differently, right? And everyone has a different perspective. Me, as an outside consultant, I usually don't understand the wow moments until I have the debrief, because some people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. I'm like, what? It affects a project that I'm not even aware of. Something else, another product that I don't know about. So to me, it's very important, especially as an outsider, to have that debrief to get what everyone else's key findings are and what the implications of those key findings are. And I actually have a format for doing an observer debrief where everybody must participate, and in order to share an observation, they must do it in the form of a how-to, a what-if, or a wish for. It structures the conversation, and it gets us not jumping to conclusions or solutions. That observer debrief meeting is not a let's figure it out meeting. It's just what were the findings. We'll figure out the solutions and problems later. I just found it to be a really good way to structure it, but there's lots of different ways to do it. Doing it is key. Okay, so again, comments serene on the surface, right? This does not happen by winging it. A lot of prep, a lot of practice, a lot of experience. And if you don't, and you do wing it, this is probably what the placement was. So if you're interested in this, moderating usability test, Joe Dumas, Beth Loring, great book. Paper prototyping book by Carolyn Snyder. She's the one that thought of the duck analogy. That is a great book. People think paper prototyping, it's an older book. She's got a great chapter on how to create a really good task and word it just right and focus on the goals. That in itself, you can write a whole book about. She's got a great chapter in her book on that. An interviewing users, Steve Portigal, great book. There's also an awesome paper, What Do Usability Evaluators Do in Practice? An explorative study of think aloud testing. That was a really good paper. Got some material. And if you like these comics, I did this poster for the iSummit. You can download it here. These slides are available already on the ConveyUX Dropbox or something that they sent out. So you can see that there. And that's it. I don't know if we've got time for maybe a couple questions. Yeah.
Could you talk about what sort of questions either research is good at asking versus focus groups? How do positions result from either validity?
Yeah. So, all right. So I don't do focus groups. I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not educated in doing them. It's a totally different mindset. I've had people come up and go, can you just do some market research first? You do all this user research. It's totally different. There are different rules to play by. And I don't live in the market research world, so I honestly can't answer that.
I'm in the same position as you,
yeah.
so.
Do people ask you to do it?
Sometimes like test various concepts.
There are some people that I know in the industry that are doing some hybrid methods where it's kind of like a focus group and an interview. I don't know how they're doing it. I think if you SDK, there's like a section on it, something coming up. But I'd be interested to learn more to see if there is really value, or is it just the big, focus groups? No. I just kind of believe that it's kind of being in this industry. Yeah.
I was just curious, what are some of the, like, the solutions that are unique to remote research, remote marketing? Are there any like particular tricks that you only apply in that sort of?
So any tricks that I apply to remote research versus in-person research, would any tricks with like setup or just for moderating? Well, with the moderating with remote research, one of the things that's the hardest is that they don't see this. Head up and down. They don't see that, and that's huge. Like having a conversation with someone you don't know how to make anything, but they don't see you do that. So I have to change how I give them clues that I am doing, and I have to say a little bit more in a remote study than I would normally in an in-person study. And that's just a level getting comfortable with that. I do a lot more of that to know. Oh, we just captured that. Just giving them little clues that I am listening and I can get that. As far as the setup goes, I think just have your backups for everything. For internet connection, phone. I use a separate call, so I don't use the integrated when you integrate with WebEx or GoToMeet. I will use a separate toll-free line, so that way if I lose connection on WebEx, I still have that. Little things like that that are really good to be under doing that checking in that for sure that maybe it can go to you beforehand, not wait for the day to say we do it. That's what I can think of off the top of my head.
Can you talk just a little bit more about how you structure the debrief and how to?
Okay, yeah. So I have a question. Oh yeah. So how did I structure that observer debrief, the how to what or before and what? So everybody has an opportunity to share their notes. So the participant one, I just choose one observer and be like, okay, let's start with you. What did you learn in the study? What were the aha moments for you? And they tell me the observation, but they're not allowed to just tell me the observation. They also have to give me an implication. Okay, so they couldn't do this. What does that mean? The implication has to be in the form of a what if, a how to, or a wish for. The wish for could be like, wish for a way that they can access that information without having to log in. Or what if we didn't make the have to require that? And it just structures the conversation in a way that doesn't get people focusing on showing that you care about this information, taking time out of your day to observe, number one. If you can do a little bit more, it would be put input into the discussion guide or moderator guide, whatever you call it, prior to the day of testing. That would be to just, if the researcher is sending it around and saying, hey, we're going to be talking to customers tomorrow, can someone look at this and say, do you have anything to add? And it's really frustrating sometimes when you're doing a study and then, oh, we should have this, this, and this, and everything's got to change. It would be great to get that. Participating in the debrief, and just really just being a champion for doing research, you know, just kind of being on board with it and really backing up the research. It's always a shame that research is the only one. Yeah. Okay, one more.
What do you do if you have observers that are in in-depth interview that aren't starting to participate? Or how do you coach the observers?
Good question. How do you coach the observers to not participate? So if I have in-person observers in the same room, I definitely go through a little bit of a instruction of this is what you will be allowed to talk at one point. I let them have a chance to talk to the participants. I let them know that it's usually at the end. And if I give you, when I give you that opportunity, you cannot ask certain questions. And I coach them on not asking, why did you do this? Don't make them feel on the spot. Don't ask them the design questions, the leading questions. I pretty much have to give them a little lesson on moderating so that they understand it prior to the test. And that's the only way to do it. And if they don't behave, they can't observe. Oh, and the key with observers too, one rule that I try to get people to follow is you can't just sit in on one session. You have to sit in on at least two, because that can color your view on like, oh, everybody thought this. Or usually that's always the one that's at the bed. The one that they see is like, wasn't very good. Okay, one more. I don't want to leave you late for lunch.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, two.
So I have a situation where I have to work with some developers who are very resistant to change, not to champion UX. So I started doing usability, and they did not want to be observers.
Oh, okay.
And I found that extremely frustrating because product manager was there, observing and stuff like that, but the person who's going to actually end up doing the coding is resistant, didn't want to hear what the users have to say. And so now it's, coming from other people, and they're like, well, when we're saying, well, the user said this, and they're like, well, I still don't think that's right. And it's like, you should have seen that in their hands. How do you come across that?
Yes. So how I come across developers not wanting to sit in on observing and pushing back on the changes that need to be made. Absolutely. The only thing you can do, if you can't force them or you can't get their boss to make them sit in on it, then show them video clips so it's not just you. Pilot reels are really good. I usually avoid doing video at all costs. Like I record everything, but I don't do the chop up reels because I'm not a video editor and I can spend 2 days full just making a 2-minute highlight video. But I will do it if it's really important for some key stakeholder to hear something that they were not able to hear. Also, okay, how about this? Another thing too is the observer debriefs are really great for people who did not observe. They can hear everybody chattering away about the debrief, the how-tos, the what-ifs, and you're in on that conversation. So you can get an idea of what happened during the testing, or if they're not watching.
Okay, putting down the clipboard, what's your strategy to not have that there? Is it just a well-thought-out task list, or do you have the clipboard but you...
Okay, I have it off to the side. I do have it as a safety net. But I try, I know what the point of the research is, the goals, the information we're trying to get, but I try not to sit there and stare at it. But also, I do a technique called collaging, and I'm doing a workshop on that later, where it's really the participant is creating the interview, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
So I can talk to you more about that after, but I want to let you guys get to lunch. Sure. Thank you so much.